Izabela.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good.
Hello, great. Thank you for joining us today, Izabela, at Search London, and thank you everyone else for signing up to Remo. I'm SEO Job Live, the organizer of Search London with Tim Sheed, and this is our 10th year. So our now, I think, 5th event online, potentially 4th. And we've got two great speakers today, Izabela and Christine. Christine will talk about core updates. And Izabela, I met Izabela virtually through the Women in Tech SEO, a great event, and she did a talk there, which was really, really interesting. And Izabela is dialing in from Birmingham and actually has her own agency, Creotos Media, that specializes in SEO, PPC, social media, affiliate marketing, and app optimization. So, and hello everyone. Sponsored beers. I'm sorry, there's no sponsored beers yet. So
you'll have to. 10th birthday. There you go, Joe.
Maybe.
That's the hook.
So please feel free to use the Q&A to ask questions, and Izabela will answer them afterwards. And please also connect with others, put your LinkedIn profiles, Twitter, promote yourselves in the general chat, and so that you can make those connections that we are not able to do in person yet. So I'll leave the stage with Tim, and Izabela, it will be all down to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hi, let me share my screen. Hopefully it works. Yeah. Okay, so I'm here today to talk to you about SEO for Shopify and the practical tips to optimize your e-commerce sites and my learnings from my Shopify clients. So Joe already introduced me. A part of my SEO career, I'm a fitness freak, Zumba instructor, mom of my incredible son, Kacper, marketing and psychology graduate, and I'm in SEO since 2013, which is actually 8 years this year, which is crazy. But yeah, so what is Shopify and why are we actually talking about it? So probably most of you know, and if you don't know, Shopify is actually third top e-commerce platform with a market share of 20%. So it's quite a lot, and they're growing really, really fast. And in 2019, Shopify paying customer grew by 55% from the previous year. So it's becoming very huge. It's big. It's loved by e-commerce marketeers, not so much by SEOs, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So is SEO for Shopify different? Technically, it's not, because obviously it's SEO, yeah? But Shopify might and most likely will actually make your job harder. Maybe you will have to be more original, take a different approach to what you would usually do when you're using Shopify to make your SEO efforts like full on. Let me show you that I know what I'm actually talking about. So, example of my Shopify, one of my Shopify clients. Yeah, we've managed. So it's not like it's impossible. I don't want to make it sound like this. We've managed to actually pick traffic up, and we kept going for quite a while. And that was me back then, and that was my client, and everyone was super happy, and I was super happy and super excited. Then I've run into some problems. After I've done it, I've started with simple on-page SEO, and that was working for me for a while very, very well. So don't forget your basics, because basics are really, really important, still really important. All the fancy stuff, yes, definitely, I'm all up for the fancy stuff, but basics are also very important. So that was pretty much on-page and a little bit of technical magic, yeah. Then I've started exploring and looking for different things to actually get my client higher, and I've run into a couple of actually problems, bigger, smaller problems. So my first learning was robots text file is actually a no-go. And trust me when I tell you, first time when actually I've said to my client that I want to add something to robots, and then they've researched it and said, oh, it's not possible. I was like, no, it's definitely possible. We just don't know how, but it's definitely possible. Well, guess what? It's actually not. So according to Shopify, the robots text file is optimal. And so with all my respect, there is no fit-all solution, especially in marketing, especially in SEO. So it might be okay for smaller sites or for startups that are actually just exploring exploring their field. For some of us, especially for the bigger websites, unfortunately it doesn't fit that much. So what do you do if you can't use robots? Yeah, it's quite scary. You can use app. So Shopify relies on apps quite heavily. It's not maybe the best solution, but it's something. The bad side of apps is it adds to your obviously kind of weight to your website, and it may slow it down. The other solution, you can edit your theme. You will need Shopify developer for that, someone who knows Shopify well. But there are workarounds, so it's not like you can't do anything, but you can't touch robots. What else? Additional pages creating duplicate content. So there is many ways Shopify creates duplicate content. One of the examples is the products URLs. We've got canonical URL path, and then we've got only through products, and then we've got non-canonical URL path through collections. By default, also Shopify links to the non-canonical version of these URLs, which is obviously not what we want. Other example, how Shopify creates duplicate content is by adding additional tags or filter pages, however we would like to call them. But they can create a real mess. So if we've got these black dresses, it can tag it in various ways, which will create duplicate content or thin content as well, duplicate titles. And then we've got this massive report from our crawler, which we are like, wow, really, really scared of. What do? We have to monitor, and we have to monitor it very closely, crawl website often. This way you can catch it. You can catch the early signs of whatever is happening, and then fix things. Well, Shopify doesn't allow us to use robots, but we can use no index tags. As I said, we can use 301 as well. So, but the key thing is we have to know, so we have to monitor, and we have to, obviously this is a case for all of the websites, but for Shopify, I think it's even more important because it does make a mess sometimes. So again, there is not easy way to optimize filters and tags, even if we decide to optimize them. So if we, as an example, we can say we've got red dresses, blue dresses, and black dresses. There is not really easy way to add content if we decide we want to add content. Two ways, yeah, how to optimize tag pages. We can get one of Shopify apps, as I've mentioned, or we can edit a Shopify theme. There are apps that will help us, but as I said, they can add to your page speed. We can use a custom code. We need again time consuming, a lot of code to our website. We know we don't really want it if it's not absolutely necessary, and we do need good Shopify developer for that. Duplicate page titles. So this is something that actually happened to me, and that's why I really wanted to point it out. So Shopify tends to disallow not duplicate, but like double filters. So if I want, if I tag my blue dresses, yeah, that's my filter. Google can crawl it, Google can index it, it's fine. If I go for blue dresses size 12, then Google can't crawl it and can't index it because it's in our robots file. We can't take it out, yeah? So for the, I'm just checking my time if I'm on the schedule. If you decide to actually go with filters content strategy, so to optimize your filters, you can't really do it all. But even if you decide to do part of it, so your single filters, as I like to call it, so our blue dresses, black dresses, green dresses, or whatever, be very careful, especially if your developer wants to automate something. Because what happened to me, I've managed to persuade my dev team to actually add, Shopify does not include tag names by default, usually. So I've managed to persuade them to include the tag names to make it, more SEO friendly. And then what happened, it created all massive another duplicate content issue for us. So be mindful of that, be careful. There are apps that can help you with this, but research it. I have some apps at the end of the presentation, which I probably won't be able to talk about, but you can see them and check them out yourself later on. Okay, so let's move. Remember, check page titles, yeah? Non-editable URL structure. It's not like a huge problem because they're not bad, but if you want to be in a full control of your website, if you like to be in a full control of your website, which I really do, it's something you have to brace yourself for. You can't change it. You really don't have control over it, like with robots, similar with sitemaps. There are apps for it, but again, not really easy. No subfolders. This, I've decided to, because there is more issues with Shopify, but because I only got 10 minutes, I've decided to put in the ones that really cause problems for me. And the no subfolders ones were really, really bad for the international websites from my perspective, because you just have to go for either different domains, or if you prefer, which from my SEO perspective is not really good, for subdomains. And for me, subfolders are a lot more manageable, and budget-wise, it can be also better, because bear in mind you have to have different domains. Yeah, me too. I love that GIF as well. That's why it's not emoji, all full of emojis, because this one just had to go in. Yeah, so you have to be mindful of a budget as well, because you will have to pay additional fees for your different domains for Shopify, whereas in the subfolders you'll have everything in. And I like to also look at links in this case, that one domain means all links go to one place, whereas with different domains you have to be mindful again of your budget and your resource to actually build links or do a digital PR campaign for all various domains. So that can be a problem, and that's something to consider, especially if you've got international business, or you thinking of having international business in the future. I've got 30 seconds. Okay. So very quick, my advice on Shopify clients, yeah? Make sure you've got good Shopify developer. That's very, very important. They have to know their stuff to actually help you with things. Make sure you agree on additional development time alongside SEO, because having a developer is one thing, and then actually getting to use the developer is another thing. Manage client expectations. Tell them it's a platform with the limitations, that because there might be a case that if you're in a competitive market, there will be that one thing you can't do to get to the certain positions. So manage their expectations. And again, before signing up the contract, consider the limitations of the platform and create a strategy considering these limitations as well. Okay, very quickly, Shopify apps worth checking out. I will share this presentation. So just a couple for you to, I know I recommend it, and meant to be good for SEO. So, and helpful resources. I used some to help me create this presentation, as I used some to actually learn myself. So they're really good. Do read them. And thank you very much. I'm just over not even 1 minute, so I think I'm good. Please contact me if you've got any questions or queries. I'm happy to answer them, either via email or Twitter or Facebook or whatever. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe, for having me. And thank you for listening. It was my pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you. $11.
Very good. Thank you very much, Izabela.
Thank you.
Well, pass over to Tim for the Q&A.
Awesome. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, you can drop them into the Q&A panel, which should be on the right side of your screens.
Not all questions.
No awkward questions. You can also upvote questions, although I think we'll probably get through them all anyway. So the first question, Izabela. What app in Shopify allows you to customize tag pages?
I can't remember the name exactly, but I'm writing down this question now, and I get my dev guys to actually tell me
Awesome.
To Optimise, and I will tweet it.
Yeah, fantastic. And then does Shopify? There are a few questions relating to sort of comparisons between Shopify and sort of WordPress tools. And WooCommerce. So the first one is, does Shopify contain a tool like Yoast to help?
It does have apps, which actually, in the end of my prezo, I think one of them is called Plugin SEO or something like that, and the other one, let me just check because I had it just here. Ultra SEO. They quite recommend it. I know people would love to have Yoast for Shopify. Unfortunately, Yoast doesn't have Shopify up. Even in one of the articles I've read, I've seen actually the actual question, is there AOs for Shopify? No, but there are some, as I said, a plugin SEO is quite recommended, and the Ultra SEO. There are others as well. You can Google it, but these two I know are recommended and liked by people.
Okay. And did you know what the hourly cost of a good Shopify developer?
Oh God. To be honest, with developers, it's like with SEOs, you can get very various prices. I think it's not the I mean, I know we have to worry about the price, but I think you really have to look more into the experience. So I really recommend, even if you can, paying more if someone has experience, really good experience with Shopify, because I had experience with the dev guys who work with Shopify but didn't know all the pitfalls. And my one recommendation for the developer, with all my respects to all the dev world, get the one that actually believes in SEO, because if developer doesn't want to work with SEO, that's the biggest issue. So I don't know the costs, I'm sorry, but yeah, definitely get the one that maybe has some experience and believes that SEO actually works.
People don't believe in SEO.
Yeah, I had that. Trust me, I've worked with developers that even if we made money, they would say it doesn't work. And it's really hard. I'm saying this only because it's really hard to work with that kind of people, because you tell them, like, can you do this for me? Well, there's no point, or I don't have time, and then everything drags in time. So yeah.
I still sit in those meetings as well, thinking,
yeah,
we're not going to work together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And do you think Shopify is better than WooCommerce?
For bigger sites, for big e-commerce sites, unfortunately, yes. Especially from like selling perspective, and from SEO perspective, no. But from selling perspective, from connecting various different things, it's better. I know it's loved by e-commerce people from only for the e-commerce part. I know we much prefer WordPress, but unfortunately, when you're small, I think you can stay on WooCommerce as long as you're small. But later on, I would research platforms, and I would probably go for something different than Shopify. But if you've got only the choice between WooCommerce and Shopify, then unfortunately, if you're bigger, then yes.
Sure. Okay. Specific question, can you customize URL structures?
From my experience and from what I know, no. If someone knows the way, please share. But from what I know, you can't.
And maybe a simple question, how easy is it to customize Shopify?
Again, you do need a good developer. I mean, you can add content to like, let's say, standard pages. Yeah, and this is easy. This is a CMS, yeah, so you don't have to custom code everything. But for things like, as I said, adding content to tags and doing some more advanced work, you will need at least a help of a developer. So WordPress is definitely easier. Okay. But as I said, it's different. It's different CMS for different needs. It depends on your needs. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Question from Joe. Do you need? Would you need your own Shopify developer, or could you potentially do it on your own?
I mean, if the question is, do you have to employ a Shopify developer? Probably not. Again, depends on your needs. If you've got huge websites and a huge amount of products that change constantly, I would probably say you will benefit from employing one, only because, and I'm shooting in my knee probably now, saying like working with agencies can be quite maybe time consuming, and then even talking with agencies, even if you do need agency, then yes, obviously go for agency, yes, but have someone that actually can talk to them their language, and that understands what they're reporting and what they're saying. That can be like, in the long run, it can be very beneficial. If you're small, if you're just starting out and you just need a couple of some help, like a couple of pitfalls here and there, you need to fix, maybe a freelancer, still good freelancer, yeah. And then as you progress, as you grow, I would definitely say yes.
Okay.
It will be beneficial.
And somebody's question is Shopify's main competition is Wix rather than WordPress. Would you specify Shopify over Wix, and if so, why?
I think even looking at the numbers, Shopify is more, people like Shopify more, let's say. I don't have that much experience with Wix, so I can't really speak about Wix. But just looking at the numbers, how quickly Shopify grows and how many customers it has, I think it might be better. But as I said, don't really have much experience with Wix, so can't really say.
And then, if you were a one-man band, what CMS would you recommend?
It depends what you do. If you I don't know, are you a consultant and you do services? If so, then WordPress all the way. If you sell things, but you just sell, I don't know, a couple of handmade stuff, WooCommerce will be your friend. But if you're big, and then again, depending on your needs, you will have to research your platforms, because as I said, I don't recommend Shopify purely from SEO perspective, but I know there are things that actually, I had clients who didn't want to move away from Shopify because it had functions like e-commerce functions and other marketing functions that they couldn't get in different platforms. So if you're big, usually it's the case anyway, if you're a bigger company, you will have to do your research and then depending on your needs, assess your, what's going to be better, because it might be, I can't be 100% sure, but it might be a case that actually Shopify meets all your other needs, and then your SEO guy will have to look at my presentation and make it work.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, it really depends what you do.
Awesome. Then let me just have a quick look through. I think that was all of the questions in the Q&A. Let me just have a quick look in the chat. There's a lot of activity in the chat as well, where you were talking. Armando has added in the chat, instead of adding apps, would you recommend investing in development of various functionalities such as product filters in order to make the websites run more smoothly?
I think having a developer that can do majority of things will be better from the perspective that I know apps can't do absolutely everything, where you can, developer won't be able to do absolutely everything, but they can do more. They can do more tweaks. Maybe you just need this one tweak, and the app doesn't allow it. Then again, apps can get your page speed higher. Mm-hmm. Lengthy code can make the same thing. So developer, definitely yes, to help you assess if it's which way to go. Mm-hmm. If you only need this one thing and it will require a lot of code, maybe an app. Mm-hmm. But if you need more things that an app can't give you, maybe that's why I keep saying you need at least be in contact with a good Shopify developer to actually help you, make it work for you. Yeah,
awesome. Okay. Right, fantastic. That is, I think, the end of the Q&A. So thank you very much, Izabela. So I think Joe's going to take us back to the tables now, and we'll have a little bit of time for a bit more networking before we move over to Christine's talk.
Yes, thank you very much. Loads of tips, and thank you everyone for asking in the Q&A. Yeah, as Tim said, so we'll have networking, and then we'll be back here at 6:15 or 10:15 Christine's time. She's dialing from Las Vegas, so got up early for us, and we'll have the presentation then. So until then, we'll see you at the tables. Continue to use the general chat too.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers. Thanks, Izabela.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.